our yin series. So today we're going to be doing a sequence for the lung and large intestine meridians. So we've moved through the body, through the hips, and now we've come into the upper body for this last 2 weeks. So not so much in the hips today, but ooh, a little bit of fluff on me. But what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be thinking about really breathing deep, because the lung and large intestine meridians are all about respiration and elimination. So to start the practice today, we are going to sit up on a cushion or a block, and I'm going to take you through an opening pranayama to really help us connect with a long, slow, deep breath, because you might be coming to this practice at the end of your day and struggling that you haven't quite been able to breathe so deep today. So that's what we're going to focus on at the start of the practice. So as you can see, I'm wearing my super comfies. Get into your super comfies as well. You don't have to be wearing an expensive pair of leggings to practice yoga. You can show up in whatever feels best to you. And let's begin. So let's bring the hands into the heart center, drawing the shoulders back. I've sat in a hero pose, but you can sit however you want to sit, to be honest. You can sit cross-legged, whatever works for you. And just close the eyes down. And our intention today is simple. I intend to breathe like I love myself. Whatever that means to you, let it sink in. I intend to breathe like I love myself. Whatever that sounds like, whatever that feels like, connect to that deeply, and every time the mind wanders off, we just gently keep bringing it back. So let's bring the hands back down into the lap. And the pranayama we're going to do is a variation of Samavriti, equal fluctuations of the breath. We're going to do a ladder breath. So we're going to breathe in for 4, out for 4. In for 5, out for 5. Going up to 6 and 6, 7 and 7, all the way up to 8. And then we come back down the ladder. So this is a breath work that I use in my practice all the time. If I feel like I'm really struggling to take a big, deep breath, that kind of chest stretching breath that feels so good, this is a nice way to slowly work your way up to it and really train the chest, train the lungs, and also bring that beautiful sense of calm and clarity to the mind as well. So we're going to take a deep breath in to prepare, exhale out through the mouth, and if at any point you're straining in this practice, straining to get up to a number, release the breath. Only go to wherever feels comfortable. No tension in the face, no tension in the body. You can always join back in whenever works for you. So let's take a deep breath in to prepare. Sigh it out through the mouth. And then inhaling through the nose, going in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling for 1 through the nose, 2, 3, 4. Inhale to 5 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Eyes can be closed. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up to 6. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Back down. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Up to 7. Deep breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Very good. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's go to 8. Inhale, deep breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pause. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good job. Back to 7. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Back down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale to 6 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Back down. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Back to 5. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last round to 4 for 1. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And release. noticing maybe how that's changed your powers of breathing, of respiration. And let's go ahead and sit ourselves down. We're coming to the first pose today, which is our caterpillar pose, so our forward fold. So you're going to want to build this pose if you have any real tension in the lower back, if you have sciatica, if you have tight or injured hamstrings, you're going to want to, or any slip discs, you're going to want to prop maybe a couple of cushions or blocks underneath the legs here, so you can fold forward. So you might squeeze them under. Have a couple here, resting forwards. Otherwise, if it feels nice, if it feels okay, and it's always up to you to decide, you can let the legs go long in front of you. If you need to make a bit of space for the belly, just take those feet apart and give yourself that space here. So we're thinking this isn't Paschimottanasana. We're not trying to grab a hold of those toes and yank ourselves in, no matter how stiff and tired you are. And if you do find that, we're struggling to lean forwards here, so we're struggling to lean from the hips, you might also sit up onto a cushion. That could be quite nice. So hopefully you found, it just helps the sitting bones to tilt forwards. Hopefully you found your variation of caterpillar pose by now. And all of us in the Wanderlust family practicing around the world, it's going to be totally different for each of us, what it looks like, because there can't be any universal cue because there is no universal body. So it's always working with what we've got in a non-judgmental, caring, kind and considerate way. So if you're new to Yin, you're joining us this week, welcome. In Yin Yoga, we are holding poses on the floor for anywhere from 3 to 10 minutes. I know that sounds like a big long time to be still, but I promise it zips by so quickly. If you feel like you've got too much pressure on the back of the knees here, pop your cushion underneath. So for me, I feel the pressure building there because I was sitting up on my cushion, which I maybe didn't need to. So I'm going to pop my cushion underneath my knees. That feels really nice and supported now. So when we come to a Yin practice, we're looking to come in with a totally different intention to other styles of yoga. We're not trying to pull ourselves deeper. We're not trying to push or achieve or problem solve or anything like that. We're simply showing up to surrender, to find stillness, and we let gravity and time just gently start to put a bit of healthy stress onto the tissues, so the connective tissues and ligaments around the body, the fascia of the body, just to gently start to help to carefully pull it apart, and only in a very safe, gentle way, so that we can help to lubricate those tense, tight parts of the body and nourish them with freshly oxygenated blood. And also we're thinking about pooling the energy, which is the qi. So in Yin Yoga, the system of traditional Chinese medicine really explains what's going on in the body really, really well. So we talk about the energy in Yin as being qi, but it's this same force, this same animation force, prana, energy, that animates all living beings, as from the traditional school of yoga in India. And we're pooling this qi around the major joints of the body, along these energetic lines that we're working into, the meridians. And when we release each pose, that qi is then able to start moving on more freely, reaching places where it was stagnated, or replenishing places where it had been completely depleted. So I'm just going to be in caterpillar pose for 1 more minute. So if there's maybe somewhere you want to kind of soften into, you don't necessarily have to go deeper. We're told a lot that deeper is better visually, but is it? Often, it's not better. What's better? Better is subjective to everyone. What works for one person might not work for you. So continue to just breathe like you love yourself. Feel the breath making space in the back body. Lung and large meridians are in the torso, flowing down,
lung flows down through the arms to end at the thumb. Large meridian intestine starts at the first finger, flowing back along the arms and through the torso. Take a last deep breath here.
And slowly release. Well done, everybody. Let's take our time coming out. We're going to come into our rebound posture. So we're going to come to lay down into Shavasana on the floor. Always a nice thing in yin, taking all this extra Shavasana. And if you feel super sleepy, don't worry about it. Embrace it. If you nod off, it's totally fine. It means you needed that sleep, and we shouldn't deny ourselves the sleep. And if you feel like the back is still a little bit tender here, if you really found a lot of depth and stretch, you might want to place the feet on the floor, knees together, and just tuck the tailbone under. Or you might even just feel more comfort just letting the knees rest into the chest here as the spine slowly decompresses. So find what works for you. So it's really important that we don't fight our body when it's tired, that we don't fill it back up with loads and loads of caffeine, because otherwise we're kind of never going to know when we need to actually rest if we're always tricking our nervous system. Because in yoga, we're using our breath to work with the nervous system. It doesn't really help if it's always being tricked and misled by what we put in the body. That's not to say don't drink coffee or tea or caffeine, each to their own. I do too. But it's always something to think about and be mindful of. If you're really, really tired, would it be nice to take a Shavasana for 5-10 minutes? Maybe that would help. So just little things in the practice of yoga. It's not just on our mat, it's off our mats too, in every choice that we make in our days. So whenever you're ready, let's think about rolling ourselves up. Take your time. And let's come over onto the belly for our next posture. We're coming into Sphinx pose, just as regal as that Sphinx in the desert. We're lifting up. So we're going to send our hands forwards. Get the belly on the floor. This is super nice here. Oh, already feels so good. And we're going to have the elbows underneath our shoulders. Now, if like me, let me move my blanket out of the way, my blankie. If like me, having the elbows directly underneath the shoulders where we're kind of told that this is where they're best suited, if this causes quite a lot of tension in the lower back, so I have a very compressed lower back, so my lumbar spine is very tight together, this might not be comfortable for you. So if you're here and you're like, oh, it would feel better if I was squeezing the bum or trying to alleviate a bit of that pressure, just go ahead and walk your elbows further forwards. So you want to keep the hands in like true train tracks in front of you. And then you're kind of elongating the spine a little bit more. So we start lifted up, looking forwards. And then as this pose softens, we might sort of sink down into our bones a little bit more. So it's really whatever works for you. Some friends are going to find that they've got quite a lot of space. And so you might have quite a bendy back. You might want to pop a couple of cushions or bolsters underneath your chest to hold yourself up a bit higher. And some friends might even want to come into seal pose, which is quite good because you can press a little bit into the first thumb and finger, which is obviously where I've just mentioned these meridians begin and end, so kind of stimulating them there. So it's really up to you what works. Try not to be squeezing the body elsewhere. So there is a school of thought that you can squeeze the glutes a little bit to alleviate the pressure on the spine. But I would say, we're also taught in yin yoga to completely muscularly disengage. So if you're finding that you need to squeeze, just soften this posture a little bit more. Just come to a place where you can feel a little bit more supported and take the arms further forwards. So I always take this pose in a combo of arms forwards and chest just kind of gently lifted with a cushion or a pillow. Giving a lot of space here. And you might find that if the belly is underneath you and you're struggling to put the arms forwards, you might also put something up here to put the elbows onto, so that then you're kind of lifting your whole body up and giving your belly a little bit more space to just be underneath you. So again, working with the beautiful body shape that you have today. So let's really come back to breathing like we love ourselves, seeing if we can follow the breath all the way down to the base of the spine. And exhale, following the sensations all the way back up through the front body, through the center line, over the tummy, up through the chest, the lungs, back out through the nose. So here we're finding that healthy, stimulating sensation by a gentle stretch through the front body and a slight compression through the back body. So stimulating the channels along the front of the body and compressing through the back body. It's also a very gentle back bend, which are thought to be quite energizing. And also, when we're giving this space to the belly, when we're really breathing deep into it, we can be massaging the internal organs, making space for digestion. And try not to be holding yourself up here. Just let yourself really sink into your bones. Relax through your feet. It's only when we've completely relaxed the body that the body's natural capacity to heal can kickstart. If we're holding tension, we're kind of fighting against. And every breath we take in, we're bringing new energy into the body. So we take energy in two ways. On the breath, chi, straight down from the heavens, and the food that we eat, grain chi, that comes into us. So this sequence that we're doing is corresponding to the element of metal. So metal, the element of communication and conduction. The way that metal conducts electricity, while the breath conducts chi, conducts energy, helping it to flow into the body, helping to nourish us. Give us the energy to love, to live, to laugh, and to make the world a better place. So we're going to take a last deep breath here in our Sphinx pose. We've done really, really well. Well done, everybody. Slowly bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Peel yourself back up. And I'm going to recommend a child's pose here to stretch out the spine. You can also come into Shavasana again if you prefer. But because we're not doing much hips today, if you do want to take the knees nice and wide to get a little bit of stretch into the hips, if on a physical level that's going to really help you, you do you, my loves. So here I'm going to come down onto the head, maybe even using the hands as a pillow underneath the head just to lift myself up a bit higher so my lower back can really stretch out and recalibrate. And again, coming back to breathing like I love myself. Let's take a last few breaths here and slowly lift yourselves back up. Well done, everyone. Okay, next posture. We're going to come into a lateral dragonfly pose. So you're going to send your legs out as wide as feels comfortable. Again, all the same things as before. Sciatica, tight hamstrings, tight back. You might pop something underneath the knees here, so popping a cushion underneath each side. This can really help us. If you struggle to lean forwards here, again, you might pop a cushion underneath the sitting bone so you can tilt forwards. Because what we're looking to do here is find a little bit of a tilt and then it's a lean. So it's not a lean directly to the right, it's kind of a lean and twist. So we're looking to twist the right side of the ribs towards the right side of the leg so that the left side of the ribs are stretching up into the sky. Now there's lots of different ways to do this posture. You can come down with the elbow onto the floor, relaxing here, hand underneath the temples. You might find that this is a little bit too far away for you. Block, cushion, whatever you need. somewhere inside of the knee. And again, I've got a bit more space here. So I might start to bring my arm up and over my head, maybe stretching it all the way out, breathing nice and deep here. If that's just too much, you might pop your bolster or your cushion over your thigh. Bolster right here can be really nice. I normally sort of hook myself over the bolster. And again, you can just use anything you need to find a little bit more space. So we're twisting to the side, we're leaning forwards. We should feel it through these really kind of tight, fibrous parts of the lower back here. Stretching out. And sometimes it might be quite nice to have the arm up and over the head. Some people find it a bit difficult. Some people like to put a cushion here just to make a little bit more space and make sure that you're really supported. This is nice. Or if you're finding it quite tricky to get that arm up and over, if I had a shoulder injury for a really long time and I couldn't get my arm up and over, it didn't feel nice. You can just rest your left hand over onto the right hand side. So again, we're not trying to hold on to ourselves and grip ourselves. I don't want to see any trying to hold on to this foot. It's not what this pose is about. But you might just lightly rest your left arm there and just use it to kind of hold you still. Just the very tension of the fingertips touching, the friction of your hand resting on your leg, your leggings, your pajamas, whatever you're wearing. So find what works for you. Find the variation that feels good in the body. And we're going to be here for 3 minutes on each side. So hopefully you've already found a place that feels good. So we've got just over 2 minutes left on this side before we switch to the other side. And some people also like to clasp their hands behind their head. This can feel good here. So just run with the attention through the body, noticing anywhere that you're still kind of holding on, anywhere that you're squeezing any muscles. Sometimes people are squeezing the inner thigh here. And this is one of those poses where we can kind of apply a little bit more pressure to the posture by letting ourselves sink deeper at a deeper kind of angle. And again, it's not about reaching your deepest depth. Yin yoga is not about just chasing flexibility. It will improve your flexibility through time because what it does is give us supple, healthy, flexible joints for life. So it might improve your flexibility and then it stops your flexibility from kind of decreasing or from you not being able to do the things you want to do. We're not trying to push to our deepest place. But this is often one that feels quite intense just because of the shape that we're making. And maybe you've got a real tight lower back from sitting at a desk all day, from playing a lot of sports, from weightlifting, working out. So this one's probably going to be a real test of your mental clarity. So can you keep perfect stillness where you're completely muscularly disengaged and you're not giving in to that desire to kind of keep fidgeting or moving or itching or scratching? So it's a mental test, and when we learn to be able to sit for 3, 5, 10 minutes in stillness and just observe our sensations and our thoughts and emotions that also come up, because they do come up in yin, that's how we can learn to be creating a really warm temperament. Oh my God, I don't even think I've said that word right. A warm outlook on life, a warm way of being, and being really compassionate to ourselves, really understanding. I have to again research the word temperament later. But this is how we learn not to sweat the little things. This is how we learn to find the space between the stimulus and the response. So you're noticing what's arising within and you're choosing not to respond or react to it. You're choosing to stay in a place of stillness, witnessing and being curious of what's coming up. So you did super well there. We did 3 minutes. We're just going to gently, slowly maybe twist to the right. Pull yourself up. Just spend a little moment here, sitting up tall. Just feeling the difference on one side to the other. And then let's gently take ourselves over to the other side. So trying to remember what you used, starting to build that. And then if it's different, if you need more props, put more props in. Okay, new side, new story. You don't have to always be in the same way because the body is not symmetrical. So let's think about slowly lifting up and over. Maybe you're finding that actually it feels really weird on this side. It's really hard to find the place with the right arm. continue to breathe like you love yourself. Maybe on this side you have to test out having the arm over here, touching the left leg. Or maybe it feels absolutely fine. And then just really settling into your posture, slight twist of the chest up to the sky. Breath is deep, belly is expanding. And our meridian lines, the different lines of the body, correspond to different physical attributes. So we've just said, lung and large meridian are all about respiration and elimination on a physical level. But on mental and emotional levels, they are felt really strongly. So, we all have that time where we don't feel ourselves, we can't put our finger on it. Well, it's when we maybe don't have the energy, the chi flowing in that kind of healthy, vibrant way that we would normally hope to and expect to with a regular yoga practice, that more targeted applications of yin yoga can be really helpful. So this sequence, the two different emotions that correspond when our lung and large intestine meridian energy is out of balance, we might feel sorrow. The kind of sorrow that we might experience with grief, or we might associate with grief. So definitely through the pandemic, you might have felt a lot of this sort of mourning our own lives, our old lives, and feel really stopped up with emotion, unable to kind of express ourselves, and on a mental level feeling really muddled and cloudy and unable to think clearly. And chronic emotions kind of work both ways. If we're feeling something quite a lot, it can tax our meridian energy. And also if our meridian energy is low, then we might feel those emotions quite strongly. So it works both ways. It's all interlinked. It's a two-way kind of system. So if you do feel that way, these postures can really help. Yin yoga has been sort of described in the past as like needleless acupuncture. And when our liver and lung and large intestine meridian energy is flowing smoothly, we feel courage. So let's take a last couple of deep breaths here. So good. And just gently, bring yourselves up. Totally normal between each posture to feel brittle, to feel achy, to feel stiff. Short-term effects of yin, opposite to the long-term effects of this supple, healthy joints. So let's go ahead and lay ourselves down into our final rebound posture before we come to our final pose. So you might want to lay on the back if you're really feeling like so stiff in the hips today. Take a little happy baby, because again, we recognize that this is more of an upper body practice. Can you feel that gentle pulsating, that throbbing of energy moving through your torso? Can you notice the direction and the quality? And then whenever you're ready, we're going to get a block, a bolster, a cushion, maybe two, depending on how easy you find it to twist the knees to the left. And we're going to gently twist both sets of knees over to the left-hand side, maybe popping a cushion between them. And again, like I said, stack as many times as you need to. Maybe popping a cushion between, and just wiggle your shoulders so that now they're quite flat on the floor. So we're going to gently just stretch into the outer edge of the hip here if you're feeling quite stiff. And we're going to reach that right arm either up and over the head, making sure the right shoulder's on the floor, or you're propping a pillow underneath. Or you might cactus or extend that arm out to the right and look over towards the right hand side. And here we're nourishing these meridian lines through the torso with a big twist. And if you want to make it bigger, you release things to the floor a little bit more. If you want to make it softer, you prop up a little bit higher. You find what works for you. And sometimes moving the blocks further away can kind of intensify as well. Now, I've always found in all of my classes when I'm teaching, this is the pose where people really go inwards. So I'm going to be really quiet in this pose with you, because this is the period for self-reflection. Yoga isn't just all guidance. There is so much self-inquiry, self-realization, and self-study that is required on the path of yoga. to free ourselves from suffering and free others from suffering. Self-study, something called Svadhyaya. So continuing to breathe like you love yourself. And just making sure you've relaxed every muscle. Maybe the hand was clasping quite tight on the knee. See what happens when you release that. Let's take a last beautiful deep breath here, just casting your attention one more time to anything you notice, maybe emotions that have popped up that feel quite strong, just letting them be, and slowly squeezing those knees into the center. If you can, trust yourself, feel with your eyes closed to move to the other side. Move your blocks, your bolsters, your cushions over to the right. Stretching the left arm in any way that feels comfortable. So again, maybe it was over the head, maybe it was out to the side. Wiggling your shoulders so that they're really flat on the floor. The further up the knees come towards the chest, the more you're going to feel it into the lower back, and the further away from you the knees are, the more you're going to feel into the outer hip. Again, completely surrendering into the floor. Letting that tiredness come if it needs to come. You take your breathing as seriously as you take your workouts, your strong yoga practice. Soften your jaw. Breathe as deep as you can. And just sit with it all. Whenever you're ready, gently rolling off. And make your way into your closing Shavasana. Legs long, maybe get a blanket, cover yourself over if it's a bit nippy where you are. Wiggle the shoulders underneath you. Take a big, deep breath in. And exhale, sigh it out. And just remembering, if today you are the wisest you've ever been. You know more today than you've ever known before about yourself, your craft, this world we live in. So surely today is the day on which you would trust yourself. And if we can only ever live in today, there is no such thing as yesterday or tomorrow, only today. Then surely today and every day would be the day on which you would trust yourself. If you want to stay in Shavasana longer, I really, really recommend it. Please feel free to do so. You can maybe pause me down now. Otherwise, if you're ready to come back up to a seated position, let's keep this very soft yin energy. Let's lift our left arm over the head today and gently roll onto the left side. Keep your eyes closed. Coming to the fetal position, where we're reborn with a fresh pair of eyes, like a newborn, with which to view ourselves, our problems, our lives, the world around us. Feel your way back up into a comfortable seated position. Keep the eyes closed if you can. Bring the hands into the heart center, and we bow in deep gratitude for ourselves for carving out this time, for one another, for being part of this community. We bring the hands to space between the eyes, the third eye, and we bow down again. The light in me honors the divine light in each of you. Wishing you peace, love, and so much in your day ahead. Thank you. Such a joy to find you, to see you all today. Thank you so much for being here. Please do come find me on Instagram. I'd love to know how you're getting on with this practice as well. And I will see you again very soon.